Alright, welcome to video 2 of the bonus videos where we're going to cover overlays, modals, and menus. Alright, so let's get back into that file that we were working at. I'm going to scroll down over here, and again what I'm doing is I'm using Z as a quick key to get the zoom. So if you see that, I hold Z and I click and drag. That zooms me into wherever I want to look at in my artboard. And then I use the space bar. I hold the space bar and click and drag to move around. And then I'll use, whether you're on a PC, you can use Control. If you're on a Mac, you can use Command. But I'll use Command minus to move out of the and zoom out, and Command plus to move in. Okay, so next one, let's grab the start of the prototype. Let's move it over to the example. And now let's go look at the more workflow-driven prototype, which will allow you to have a move up and move down set of screens, and then a move left and move right set of screens. So this is a little bit more complicated, but still pretty simple. Let's go see how this looks. Let's demo it real quick, and then we'll get into making it. Okay, so just like we did in the last video, we have a slide up, and then we have a slide right. And you'll see now the X is on the top right. That's very intentional, and it's to help us create a workflow, and then also allow the user to get out of the workflow whenever they like to. So the workflow begins when we press start, and why the X is in the top right, you'll see here. As you see, the next screen slides in from the left. And if I want to go back a screen, I can go back here. So one more time, we start. Screen 2 slides in. There may be some settings we want to input or some form fields we want to input here at this workflow. And then we go to number 3. And let's say you want to cancel this workflow. A couple things you can do. You can go back. You can go back. You can press the X. And now you're back at that original start screen. Or, if you don't want to go back 3 screens, you can just close the X. And now you're back at the workflow here. So that's why the X is at the top right, is because it gives us real estate here for the back button on the top left. So again, we're going to go through screen 3, screen 4 here, and we'll complete the workflow here. And if you want to X out, boom, X out at any point. Okay, so let's go make that interaction. Again, let's grab the start and let's drag it over to the series of screens next to you do. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Let's grab the view button, and again, let's prototype. Make sure you're in the prototype tab. Slide the prototype arm over here. And you already see it's preset for you. So we want on tap. We don't want move out. We want the move in. But let's just see. Let's see how this looks on move out. You can kind of tell sometimes it looks a little weird. Okay, so you see how the last screen, this black screen here, moved up. And we don't want that. That's a weird interaction. We want this white screen to sort of sandwich layer on top of that start screen here. And that's because we selected move out. So if we do move in, this will work great. So let's go look at that. Okay, that's what we wanted. And now let's go get the X in play, where we can slide the X over and do move out. And again, we don't want it to move up here. And you can see sometimes that you forget to do the down arrow, and it may look something like this. See how it moved up? That's very, very weird. We want it to repeat the same interaction that was presenting this screen. So again, it moved up. We want to sort of repeat and reverse that interaction. We want it to move back down. So in this case, we want to go select the prototype for the X, move that down, and bada bang, bada boom. Okay, next thing is we want to do sort of like starting the workflow here. Let's grab this button. Let's go to number 2. And in this case, we don't want move out. We want the move in screen. And we want it to come in from the left. And you can see move in. And we have the left here. And let's go look at that. So we got view. Going to start this prototype. and the 2 slides in from the left. Very nice. Okay, and then same deal, let's go grab the back button here, and let's drag it over to the 1. And what we want to do here is we want this to move to the right. And we have the same common mistake that happens, is that we leave it and move in and not move out. And you'll see what happens here. When I press the back arrow, see how the 1 screen moved in? We don't want that. We want the 2 screen here to repeat and reverse that same interaction in which it came into view. Just reverse it. We want to go back out. But right now, you can see the 1's coming in. That's because we left it in move in. So let's go ahead and move it out over here. And now you'll see the correct interaction where move number 2 slides in. If you do the back button, it slides back out. Okay, and then I've also have a pretty much a transparent gray bar here. You can see it looks like that. And it's transparent for a reason, because we don't want the user to see it. We just want to use this as a prototype mechanism to allow the user to drag this photo or this screen out of the way. So common, if you go into a screen that has a back button, it's common for folks on your mobile device to swipe this screen out of the way. And so that's what this will represent here. I'm going to make it a little bit larger just so you can see. And so what we don't want this to be on the interaction details here. So we slide it back, this transparent square back over to 1. We don't want on tap. We actually want to do on drag here. And we want the same animation. We want move out and off to the right. So now when I can do, as a user, I can press the back button. That will go back to 1. Or I can drag by clicking or on the prototype holding your finger on your phone and dragging this screen out of the way. See how that worked there? Cool, so this is feeling good. This is feeling like a real prototype, like a real Apple application. You can press the back button, go back down, come on into the workflow. You can click and drag to swipe this. And now let's get the rest of these prototyped in. What we can do here is we have the X on all of these screens, but the X is really just going to take you back to this home screen. So a new feature for Figma now is that you can paste in multiple artboards. So let's delete the X's in these other screens. Let's grab the X, and if you're on a PC, it's Control-C, as in cat. If you're on an Apple, then it's Command-C. And let's go ahead and select all 3 of these. I'm on a Mac, and I'm going to Command-V, as in Victor. Or if you're on a PC, Control-V. And it's going to place that X automatically on all 3 of those screens with the interaction we want that goes back to the starting screen. Okay, and it's pretty simple from here on. We just make the next button go to number 3. We want to make sure it's on tap. We want move in, and we want this screen to move in from the left. And then same with the back button. We want to go back from the screen 3 here to number 2, and we want move out and to the right. So again, the screen's going to come in from the left and then move out to the right. Same thing for 3 and 4. We do the next button to the 4 screen. Again, we want it to move in from the left. And then for the back arrow going from screen number 4 to number 3, we want it to move out to the right. Alright, that should be complete. Let's go look at it. So we have the view, the screen slides up, we have the start, press next, got number 3, press 4, goes to number 4. You can cancel, close X, goes back to the beginning screen. You can launch the workflow again, go number 4, or you can go back. Even on the number 2 case, you can swipe and press X, and you're back at the screen here. Okay, cool. That was fun. Let's get over to the next one, which is mobile modal drop-downs. So I'm going to grab the start screen so we can quickly see the example of how this works. Press the play button here. And so this is a drop down for mobile devices. So when, let's say I want to select my favorite color, click on this drop down and you'll see a menu item slide up here. And let's say I select here red, then you'll see it's populated with red here. Press the X, go back to the select color, do the same route. I can click anywhere outside or tap anywhere outside of this drop down selection here and it closes it. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab the start over to the series of screens here that says you do. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to go over to the top artboard tool where it says frame. And if you're on this tool, either whether you're on the design tab or the prototype tab, it will allow you to click to create different sizes and devices that you would be designing for. So in this case, our screen sizes and dimensions are iPhone 11X. So let's go ahead and click on that. And it's just going to drag, automatically place a artboard onto Figma. And now we need to just shrink this artboard down from the top. We want to keep the same width, but we want to move the top down. So it's about a little more than a little less than half of the artboard to the left. And so what we'll do is if you just click at the top and you drag down, we'll say about that looks good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select some of the elements here from the top. Let's just select, don't even worry about the lines. Let's just select all of the text here. Press Command C, or if you're on a PC, Control C. I'm going to select the artboard here, and again, Command or Control V as in Victor to place. Okay, that looks good. Now I think we have all the pieces we would need. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to click the drop down, just grab this whole element, press the prototype, and again drag it over to this artboard here. And you'll see the interaction details dialog box here. We want the action for on tap. That's the function, the target that we want to create. But the mechanism here we want to change. So instead of navigate to, we want it to say open overlay. And then once you have overlay, it's going to give us our overlay options. And we're going to get into these options here in the next set of videos or prototypes here. Right after this one, we'll do the modal. But right now, we want to do bottom centered. We want to enable clicking when close when clicking outside or tapping outside. That means any of the area above this will close. And we also want to add a background overlay. It defaults to black, which is most common, and we can even make it darker. We can do 50% opacity here. And then for the animation here, we don't want instant, but let's just go look at what we've created so far so you can see how instant works. I'm going to remove any of you can see this one still had a prototype arm connected to the artboard here at the top. Let's just click and remove that for now. Okay, so let's go select this artboard with the start label on it, press the play button, and you'll see now we have the drop down menu here, and if you close it, it goes away, but there's no transition, right? It's instant. And we want to have a transition here. So if we select the prototype interaction details again, and you see where it says animation, we want to use the same one we just learned on the last screen. We want those move in animations. And from this one, we don't want the left or the right. We want it to move up. And then when you automatically click outside the overlay, it will reverse that for you. So it will move out of the way and down when you click outside of it. So let's go back over to the prototype here, select the drop down, and there you go. You see how that slid up? And when you click outside of it, it's going to reverse that interaction automatically for you. Cool, so that's pretty simple there. And now let's just go say we want red. Let's click over here. And on tap, we don't want any of the animation here, just instant is fine. And now let's select the X here to connect it over to the beginning screen so you can remove this selection easily. Just instant is fine as well. And now we'll have a complete drop-down selection for a mobile device. Click, slide up menu comes in, you want red, red shows up, press X, you can do it all over again. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next one. Very similar. This will be the modal. And I'm going to move the start down here to the example. Let's go look at this one real quick. Alright, so if we have a button, press the text here, and you'll see it says hi, and we can close it. So just a modal interaction for a mobile device. And let's go ahead and move the start prototype label to the one that says you do. Let's change this text to just say, I don't know, let's say open. So I just clicked into it, I pressed T on my keyboard, that gives me the text tool. You click once, it selects it. If you triple click, so I'm clicking twice, it automatically selects everything. So again, I can triple click and type open again. Okay, so let's I have the modal here built out again, but let's just delete this for now. Let's start from scratch here. So same thing, I'm going to come to the frame here, frame tool at the top left. I'm going to select iPhone Pro X. It's going to give me an artboard. And what I'm going to do here is take this artboard frame, I'm going to make it a little bit less tall. So I'm going to click from the top. Let's move it down here. But in this case, I also want to make it less wide as well. So it's acting as a modal. It doesn't cover the entire phone from the vertical space to the left and right space, but it fits kind of right in the middle of the phone. Alright, so that's already a good start. And what we want to do is we want to go back to the Design tab, and let's go ahead and round out these corners. So you see where it says frame. I'm going to round out the corners by putting, let's say 20. Okay, and you usually don't want to go too heavy. Like, you don't want to have corners that are very rounded like that. You just want a nice, subtle, rounded corner. So 20 should be perfect. Okay, and then to get to the prototype, let's go ahead and click on the open button. Let's slide the prototype arm over here, over to this artboard, and let's go ahead and call this on tap. And similar like we did before, we went to navigate to, we're going to change this to open overlay. And now, instead of doing bottom centered like we did before, let's do centered. And let's go ahead and close when clicking outside. Let's also do add a background overlay. We can keep it at 25% here. And again, let's do just a dissolve interaction. We don't need to have it move in or anything like that. Okay, that should look good. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like on the prototype. Press open. Okay, and we have a modal. Let's go ahead and close it. Open and close. Alright, that's looking good. Let's go add some of the pieces to this modal here. I'm going to copy this hi, and I'm going to select the artboard, paste the hi here, just kind of center it if you want to as well. And I'm also going to click on the X here, paste the X, and remove this interaction. Another way to remove the little GUI arm here is you can right click on a artboard and see where it says remove interactions. That will remove all the interactions just on that artboard. Let's go ahead and put this X at the top right. Let's drag it over to the starting point of this artboard. And let's go ahead and say on tap, dissolve. That should work perfect. And it's just going to close this modal for us. Press X, and we're back there. So open and close. You can also tap anywhere outside of the modal and close it as well. Okay, that was how to do a modal. Let's go drag the start point over to the one below, and let's go look at a menu coming from the title bar. And this is a very, very common interaction that you'll find in a lot of mobile devices. So I'm going to click on the artboard here. I'm going to press R on my keyboard. That will take me to whichever screen has the start label on it. And you'll see there's a hamburger menu or a hamburger icon on the top of this title bar. I have the title bar fixed, so you can see I have all of it selected here at the top, and I've pressed fixed when scrolling. What this will do is, again, it just keeps it at the top as the user scrolls. It will stay fixed. It doesn't move, while all the content like the numbers 1, 2, and 3 will scroll. So you'll see how that scrolls below, and you'll see the menu come in. So I click on the menu icon, and the menu slides in from the left to the right. If I click outside of it, it closes it. Pretty cool interaction. Let's go ahead and build it. So I'm going to click on the prototype tab again, and I'm going to drag the start section over to the one that says you do. I'm going to move all of this text over here a little bit. We're going to need that in a second, so don't delete it. Click on the artboard tool. And let's go ahead and click again on the artboard tool. Let's drop a iPhone Pro X here. And in this case, we want to make it the same. We can make it the same size as the screen to the left. Should be fine. But we don't want it to be the same width. We want it to be a little bit thinner. So let's say here is good. And what we can do here is if we go to the design tab here, you'll have a fill color. So this, when you select the artboard level, it allows you to fill the artboard with whatever you want to fill. You can even do it fully transparent. I can press 0 and it's fully transparent artboard. Or I can go into it and select a color. So in this case, I don't know, let's do this blue. You can do any color you want. Doesn't really, it's your world. You can do anything. But for this example, let's do blue, just for fun to change it up a little bit. And let's go ahead and pull this text into the menu here. Move it down a little bit. Okay, cool. So we have our menu design here. Let's go select the hamburger menu icon and let's drag that over to the menu design that we have on tap. And then again, remember where it says navigate to. So we have the on tap is good. Navigate to is where we want to change it to get into these overlays. And again, open overlay just like we did before. And instead of centered or bottom, we want it to come in from the top left. So this middle one, top left here. Same functions, we want it to close when clicking outside, and we want to add a background color behind it. And again, we don't want to have dissolve or instant. So again, we can keep it at instant for now and just see what it looks like, but we're going to change that here in a second. Okay, there's the menu, came in. We can click outside of it, close it. But you can see it had no transition. It just instantly showed up. So let's add the transition for it to move in. So again, if we go from the animation here, we allow it to move in, and we want this to come in from the left. So left will be good. Or sorry, we want it to come in from the right. So wherever the position of the menu is on the left, we want it to come in from move in from the right here. And if you ever get lost, that's what Figma does in this little example. It shows you that this screen B, this new screen you're going to prototype here, is going to slide in over the screen that you're on, screen A. Okay, let's go look at that. That should be complete. So let's press R on the keyboard, click on the hamburger icon, and it slides in. Close here, and slides out. All right, cool. So there you go. There you have a menu, and that concludes this video. And the next set of videos here, we will look at the Smart Animate prototype function. We'll build a cool looking loader, and we'll do horizontal and vertical scrolling. As always, thanks, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.